It is my pleasure to speak to Kirti Gupta of Qualcomm. Qualcomm is the leader in the industry and plays an important role in technology standards, interoperability, and ecosystems development. Kirti, thank you. My first question is 5G, how is this important to decarbonization and the achievement of sustainability?
Thank you, Christine. Glad to be here. And great question. At Qualcomm, we have been transforming the world with wireless technologies for over the last 30 years, starting from the first generation 1G to 2G, 3G, and 4G, the generations, or the Gs as we call them. We have transformed the world. There are more, as you know, mobile connections today than people on the planet. But even with all that, I think of 5G as a paradigm shift. Because 5G isn't just about connecting people to people, as was the case in the previous Gs. It's about connecting everything everywhere, from cars to hospitals to factories, homes, you name it. Because of this, I think of 5G as the railroads, the waterways, and the airways of tomorrow, or the underlying infrastructure of our future connected world. And if that is the case, if 5G is this common denominator technology that everybody will use, it's critical that it achieves the sustainability goals. There is no planet B.
Right. So I think if we're now looking at, you could say that there is a parallel structure. You have the real world, so to speak, that we can put our hands around, the railroads and the factories, as you said. And then the 5G is a sort of information connectivity highway. Mm-hmm. Can you be a bit more specific about the benefits that 5G will bring that will help us to decarbonize, to be more efficient in everything? How do you think that is going to work?
Yeah, so, just to study that, what would be the sustainability impact of 5G? We did a 5G and sustainability report. It is available now at the Qualcomm website as the engineers and economists of the company. And we tried to understand what are the technical enhancements that our 5G design engineers worked on that lead to estimated sustainability benefits because of 5G by 2025. And let me give you some examples. For example, one, we found that by 2025, when 5G is integrated across industries, it has the promise to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 370 million metric tons. Now, that's equivalent to taking 81 million vehicles off of the road in any given year in the United States. That's big. Second, water systems can save around 410 billion gallons of water because of optimization, identifying leaks and smarter systems. And that's water usage of 4+ million households every year in the United States, just to give you an estimate, right? Use of unmanned aerial vehicles and remote sensing in agriculture can reduce the use of pesticides by half. And for these kinds of applications that cut across various industries, we think we will see around 300,000 more new green jobs added to the economy. By that, I mean, jobs like data scientists and data engineers working in renewable energy sectors, smart grids, remote sensing, data monitoring and gathering, and more. So I think of the impact of 5G as broad and far-reaching, and it really does have the power to make the planet more sustainable.
Wow, I mean, these are amazing standards, but I think this is also the perfect question for you, Kirti, because you are an engineer. And I think we have engineers watching this program, the geeky side of the issue. Mm-hmm. What is it that you really need to do to have these amazing achievements?
The design optimizations from the engineering perspective. So I'll put my engineer hat on, and a lot has been done to make those foundational specs of technology, the standard specifications, to make the networks more efficient and to reduce power consumption. So just some examples, like we can enhance energy efficiency by enabling, separate handling of data traffic and signaling traffic. That's one example. And we can also leverage simplification of signaling for many, many functions that the mobile network does, right? Like handovers and location management, that reduces the overall traffic and therefore enhances efficiency. Then one of my favorites is that, we are able to apply separate energy efficiency improvement mechanisms based on different traffic profiles. That's one of the powers of 5G, right? Like depending on what is the network deployment scenario, is it dense, is it urban, rural, hotspot, indoor, outdoor? We can deploy a different kind of energy improvement mechanism suited for that environment. That gives you a huge advantage. And then there are other examples like, energy saving operations like going to sleep mode, or when, redundant network nodes when there is no or low data traffic, dynamic management of energy resources depending on types of traffic, like, network functions and components and the user status. So because of this, I think the most important thing that 5G offers is different traffic profiles, different network technologies, adapting to those and bringing efficiency because of that adaptation and change.
Right. My last question is, obviously, there's a lot of stakeholders along the way, right? You need to collaborate many industries to kind of come together and get all that done. Is the industry having platforms like this and maybe other platforms to really start discussing how to get this done sooner rather than later? Because the decarbonization and climate change challenge is really very urgent.
Absolutely. This is that is the critical point, because if we don't have these discussions at places like the GTI Summit, at the CES. I was at CES in January, and there were two panels, two keynote addresses that talked about 5G and sustainability. I was on a panel on this exact topic. If we don't have these conversations, we are escalating the issue. And I think that is why it is so incredible that we have these platforms and we are having this discussion, this panel discussion today. It means that we are seeing a real commitment from the industry, from the community, to make sure that the sustainability decarbonization goals are being defined and are being met. We are getting these questions from the investor community now on a regular basis. We are writing reports like 5G and sustainability. We are committing to the net zero emission goals. This all is good news, and it means like us and others in the industry are being motivated and are increasingly committing to these goals. And GTI and these kinds of platforms are such an important voice in continuing to advance this commitment.
Well, Kirti, Gupta, thank you so much. And thank you to Qualcomm for accepting this interview. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you, Christine.